Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. My homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Let's pay our respect to our teacher, Pinat Lokaswami Nasi also. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today we are gonna start the second one on that four foundations of mindfulness. When we talk about the four foundation of mindfulness, we know that we are not just learning, we try to see, understand and practice it within ourselves. This is a practice to overcome from all the sufferings, so that now we know that sufferings arises due to the attachment. This existence has its own nature of impermanence. Due to that, there is uncertainty and no authority over the things. It's like we are not creating the world. We are just uh, we are just part of this existence, and we do not own anything in here. So it's like a conditioned one, our life. So if someone has some sort of attachment over anything, may it be this, may it be not like this, or likewise, the sufferings arises. We know that there are sufferings which arises due to the attachment. So to overcome from that, just knowledge does not enough, but knowledge is something important, something valuable, and we need it. And but we have to make it our own understanding. Just the knowledge doesn't help. So to make it our own understanding, we need to practice that. We need to listen to teachings, we need to discuss, and at the same time we have to practice samatha and vipassana, the focused attention and the insight. So the Satipaṭṭhāna, or the four foundation of the mindfulness, is the path to practice both samatha and vipassana, or the calming and insight meditations. What happens in here, we see the body as body, as its own nature. Instead of recognizing this body as me or mine or myself, we see the feelings as just feelings in its own nature, instead of uh, taking these feelings as me or mine or myself. The same way, we see the mind as mind with all its conditions, seeing the nature of it. And in the same way, the mind objects or the mind phenomena which arises and falling, we see it as it is, instead of recognizing or framing anything like me or mine or myself. Yes, we do have our own name. You have your own family. Likewise, you have on your boundaries, but that boundaries just to live in this world. Other than if we take those things like some sort of so serious, I mean, the believing that the me in there, then when things changing, we feel sufferings, we feel pains. So today we are starting a new chapter on the being mindful, how to be mindful in our feelings. So in brief, we are just about to understand feelings as feelings, instead of framing that feelings as me or mine or myself. So we need knowledge on that. Think that we can teach to a dog. We think that dog believing in his mind, this is my house, and suddenly someone coming to the house. Dog does not know that person. What happened to dog? Dog feel like someone is coming to my house. until we adopt that dog in our house, dog didn't have such a thing. Now dog believing that this is my house, someone else. He doesn't mind whether this is dad's friend or anyone. He doesn't mind, he doesn't care. So he shows his power. Why? He feels hurt when someone break his boundary. That means he has a frame of I in there. But we can't teach to the dog, hey, you know what, this is what going on in your mind. Why we can't do that? It's that living being does not have that ability to understand its own mind. But being a human, of course, we can when we ready to listen. When we ready to listen. If not, we are unable to understand that. So when we understand that, what happens? That problem will no longer with us. So when we do not have that problem, we do not have the suffering, the pain which arising due to that. Framing certain feelings, this should be like this, my feeling should be like this and not like this. This is what we are gonna learn and practice. Right. So today, let's learn first part, and then we will learn the sutta which I shared with you, because with that knowledge, we can go to the next part.
And how does a mendicant meditate observing an aspect of feelings? It's when a mendicant who feels a pleasant feeling knows, I feel a pleasant feeling. When they feel a painful feeling, they know, I feel a painful feeling. When they feel a neutral feeling, they know, I feel a neutral feeling.
So that when a monk feels pleasant feeling, they knows I feel a pleasant feeling. When they feel a painful feeling, they know I feel a painful feeling. When they feel a neutral feeling, they know I feel a neutral feeling. Just forget about this I actually. Just understand that when someone feels pleasant feeling, understand this is a pleasant feeling. This is unpleasant this is a painful feeling, or this is neutral feeling. So what is the important of understanding the feeling as feeling? That's the important thing we have to understand first. So think that something happened to you. Let's bring a common example. Like think that you are just driving by yourself, being mindful, listening to music and so peaceful, admiring the weather and everything. Suddenly someone overtake and just break without giving kind of a room, like you are not ready for such experience. Suddenly, if that happens, how do you react? Do you say, wow, thank you? Let's ask from you. How you may all have this sort of experiences. What is your common reaction to such a thing? If we being
Slam
so,
my fist on the dashboard and say curse words.
yes, that's an that's true. Anyone else?
Tense body, tense
Yeah,
body.
tense body feels like, oh, that sort of a feeling comes. So likewise, then instead of understanding inner feeling, I feel painful feeling. We take whole thing as a story. I was driving peacefully, no problem to no one. I'm on myself. I do not make troubles to others. But see, this mad person, just he doesn't know how to drive. He should go and start. He should go and learn to the learning school again. That sort of experience we have. So we do not break, this is feeling, this is so what's going on in my body. Instead of that, we dealing with the story, and we believe that someone is doing something wrong towards us. So when there is a story, when in that story when there are characters like me and the others, we always need the justice to ourselves, I. So then, when we didn't receive it, we feel that unpleasant experience, and it hurts us a lot. So if we let our mind to create that story, then we are diving into that problem more and more. So instead of that, we can break everything to cause and effect. So the one way is someone being mindful while driving, being mindful what's going on, feelings. Suddenly he feels like, I was so neutral, I was so happy. Suddenly unpleasant feeling arised, and it's falling. So being for some time and it's falling. So when instead of creating a story, identifying himself as that feeling, seeing the nature of the feeling. There are 5 things, if you can remember, we have learned this. As in any condition thing, we have to see the arising. So in the feelings arises due to the contact, and arising and falling when contact is no longer there. That pleasant feeling just ceased when there was another contact. So and then the gratification in that any feeling, pleasant or unpleasant, neutral, every feeling has its own gratification. And the danger of that, danger means like that the problems which creates from that feeling. So in that, it has the impermanence, and as it's like useless thing when we see the danger side of that. The third thing is the nissarana, or the escape from that feeling, rising, falling, gratification, danger, and the freedom from that feeling. So those 5 things we have to understand. So you may have a question, Bante. Yes, of course, I know the happiness, the pleasant feeling has gratification. So what is the unpleasant feelings gratification? Unpleasant feelings gratification is the ending of that feeling, that we expect that feeling to fade away. So as an example, think that someone overtaken, like suddenly break, and you are so upset about that person, and suddenly that person give you to overtake, and bringing his palms together and saying, I'm really sorry. Then what will happen? That feeling fade away, and then you don't angry at that person suddenly. So that's what you are expecting. So that's why it's keep on coming. You expect the justice for your feeling. So instead of seeing the nature of that feeling, so when you see the nature rising and falling, you see the gratification and danger, the useless thing of that, and then mind eventually escape from that feeling. When mind eventually escape that feeling, even that person says sorry or not, it's like, oh, none of my business. Like that problem is no longer existing in you, because you are not expecting such a thing in your life. You feel the freedom. You are being with the freedom. That sort of a happiness you can gain when you understand these 5 things. So pleasant feelings are also the same thing: rising, falling, gratification, danger, and escape. Unpleasant feeling also have this 5. To get kind of an understanding about this, let's dive into the sutta which we would like to learn today, which is the Salla Sutta. This sutta shows us, if someone hit by an arrow and feeling hurt, there is another arrow hit again to the same wound. So how it happens, that's what it teaches here.
Mendicants. An unlearned ordinary person feels pleasant, painful, and neutral feelings. A learned noble disciple also feels pleasant, painful, and neutral feelings. What then is the difference between a learned noble disciple and an ordinary unlearned person? Our teachings are rooted in the Buddha.
Okay, thank you. Hold on a second. Yeah, so Buddha asking, so that one who learned about these teachings also feels the pleasant or painful or neutral feelings. One who do not have the knowledge on this, that means someone who is not practicing these teaching also feel the feelings, and someone who practice these teachings also feel the feeling. So this is something important. You have to understand that Buddha never give certify us like, hey, if you going for refuge me, I will take you out of all the feelings. There is no such a thing, right? He's not a kind of a someone who's taking you out of the sufferings. So he's teaching to understand the suffering to your freedom. So it's a kind of a different thing, because in religions it has that sort of a thing. So we shouldn't expect from Buddha like, hey, I'm practicing this meditation for a long time. Why do I always why the troubles are always finding me? So it's not like that. So this is not something like that. This allows you to see like whatever the sufferings comes to you, this will lead you to be happy and understanding, and be happy eventually for no reason with the understanding. Okay, so then, so when when Buddha asked what is the difference between someone who experienced someone who learned about this teaching also feel the feelings, and someone do not understanding about this teaching feel the feelings. So what is different? So the learners or the monks, they don't say, hey Buddha, oh, I believe this, I think this is the reason. When Buddha says something, they always give the chance Buddha to explain, saying that, Buddha, you know this, and this is what you discovered path, and please may you understand it and share it with us. So that's what in here. So the dots means that so that part is not in this translation.
When an unlearned ordinary person experiences painful physical feelings, they sorrow and wail and lament, beating their breast and falling into confusion. They experience two feelings, physical and mental. It's like a person who is struck with an arrow, only to be struck with a second arrow. That person experiences the feeling of two arrows.
Right. So you can understand this, right? So if someone experience painful physical feelings, unlearned ordinary person, in asutava putujjano, so there, when the unlearned ordinary person means, if you would like to note it down, there are 6 things saying there. Ariyanang adasavi, Ariya Dhamma Sakovido, Ariya Dhammi Avinito. That means they do not see the Buddha. That means not from their naked eye. That means with the understanding. Ariyanang Adasavi, Ariya Dhamma Sakovido. They are not clever enough to practice this. The third thing is Ariya Dhammi Avinito. This, they are not practicing this. The same thing saying the Sappurisa means that they do not see the noble friends, they do not have a capability to understand what the noble friends say, and they are not practicing. So in summary, the unlearned ordinary person means one who does not see these teachings, or even they see that, they may not are clever enough to understand. Oh, they may see even they clever enough, but they are not practicing it. They are categorized in unlearned ordinary people. Understood? So you may feel like there are some special things there, and you are definitely clever enough to understand. That's why you are coming to classes. But if even you are not practicing, still you will categorized in unlearned ordinary person level. Okay, so what happened to them when they experience a painful physical feeling? They sorrow and wail and lament, beating their breast and falling into confusion. They experience two feelings, physical and mental. That means whatever the physical pain, they take it so serious and they take it personally. So this is the example. It's like a person who is struck with an arrow only to be struck with the second arrow. That person experienced the feeling of two arrows. In the same way, when an unlearned ordinary person experiences painful physical feeling, they sorrow and they experience two feelings, physical and mental. When they are touched with painful feelings, they resist it. Right.
The underlying tendency for repulsion towards painful feelings underlies that. When touched by painful feelings, they look forward to enjoying sensual pleasures. Why is that? Because an unlearned ordinary person doesn't understand any escape from painful feeling apart from sensual pleasures. Since they look forward to enjoying sensual pleasures, the underlying tendency to greed for pleasant feelings underlies that. They don't truly understand feelings' origin, ending, gratification, drawback, and escape. The underlying tendency to ignorance about neutral feeling underlies that. If they feel a pleasant feeling, they feel it attached. If they feel a painful feeling, they feel it attached. If they feel a neutral feeling, they feel it attached.
Right. So this is what happened to them. So it's like an arrow hitting to the same wound they suffer. When they suffer, what they do, they go to escape from that sufferings. They try to find sensual pleasures as their happiness. So like when they touch by painful feeling, they look forward to enjoying sensual pleasures. Why is that? Because an unlearned ordinary person doesn't understand any escape from painful feeling apart from sensual pleasures. So this is what happened to a ordinary unlearned person. If they feel pain, they do not have ability to control their feelings, overcome from that pain. So they need any sort of a sensual pleasure. So this is kind of a dangerous thing. Why? Think that we are getting older day by day, that the sensual pleasure we can receive from the world also reducing little by little. So then you may not get chance to uh, go to vacations and walk here and there. It's like our life is like the world getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I heard one day, like in a in elderly care place, suddenly they lost the internet connection, so that all the elders were happy just by watching the movies and the things in the internet and browsing the news. When they do not, because they are going through pains, because getting older is not a nice thing. We all nowadays also we have pains and things, but getting older means like pains are like part of our life. So then uh, when there is nothing to find in as a sensual pleasure, they struck with pain, they struck with the mental pain which arises because of that, and then there is no way to overcome from and with using a sensual pleasure. So Sensual pleasure always again create the feeling of missing and all those problems, because that's the way of sensual pleasures. It's a kind of a story we create in our mind when when we do not able to achieve that expectations. It creates suffering. So it's not a happy way to live in the world. That's why feeling people struggling a lot. That's why people feeling pain and sufferings a lot. Why does it happen? Because they do not have any other way to overcome from that feelings. With knowing, with the knowledge of the understanding of the feelings, origin, ending, gratification, drawback, and escape. So if someone knows these five, that means that whatever the feeling arises, they understand that feelings are rising, falling, and yet it has its own gratification and also the drawback and the escape. There is a way to escape from that feelings. So that's for that we need to see the feelings as feelings. So this is what the unlearned ordinary person do. They when they feel pleasant, attach. Unpleasant, they'll attach. Neutral, still they'll attach. And what will happen? They are called an unlearned ordinary person who is attached to rebirth, old age, death, sorrow, lamentation, pain, sadness, and rest. So, but the learned noble disciple is completely different. They, when they feel a feeling, they see it rising and they see it falling. They see the gratification, they see the drawback, and they see the escape. So it's an amazing thing. So you know what? So do you think that they're still struggling with that, the first arrow? Actually, because the ordinary person, when they hit struck a arrow, the pain, the mental pain also struck. But what will happen? Can you see that in here? When feeling arises, they see the gratification, drawback, and escape. When someone escape from that feeling, that means the first arrow also fading away. So that mean when that mean your pain can lead you to freedom. So that's why the inner peace and happiness is part of their lives. The rest of the world will suffer. But even if you feel body discomfort, you can be mindful in that, and you can practice 7 factors of enlightenment and overcome from that pain and suffering. There are some suttas called Bojjhanga Sutta, 7 factors of enlightenment suttas. In there, sometimes the Arahant, enlightened monk Kassapa, was sick, and Buddha went to see the monk and asking, how's monk, how's going? And hope you feel the pain is reducing and not increasing. The monk saying, oh no, Bhante, it's increasing and it's pain is increasing and it's difficult. So then Buddha saying, okay, let me tell you the 7 factors of the enlightenment. That means first fact of that enlightenment, what we call the mindfulness. Buddha teach the monk being mindful of the feeling, and then the Dhamma Vichay, that means the wise consideration, it arises. Because of that, energy improves. Because of that, piti, that the pleasure arises, and that pleasure overloading over the body, and then it turns to that the tranquility, and then it creates the concentration and detaching even to that concentrated mind, that samadhi even. So feel the freedom. And what just after the teaching of Buddha, just telling that, the monk says that, oh, that my pain is fade away. I don't feel that. That's sort of amazing teaching this. How it happens when you feel feeling. Instead of creating story and believe in that story, just see this feeling was not here a moment ago. This arise and this will fall. And this arising and falling, its nature. There is a gratification there. That's why my mind attached to that. And also it has the drawback of rising and falling. And let mind escape from that. That's what does in this being mindful of the feeling. Do you have any questions from what we learned today? Because the brainstorming and discussing is a kind of a nice way to connect with this teaching instead of holding that and try to understand it by yourself. We can open, because the Buddha's teaching has a quality called ehi passiko, come and see. Buddha saying, sun will shine, moon will shine when clouds are not covering the view. So likewise, this teaching shines when you uncover, not when you cover. And saying there are things, they shine when you covers. If some teaching wrongly discoursed, like that teaching, if that teaching is wrong, that will shine when we do not ask questions. But Buddha allows us to ask questions. So be open to yourself and receive whether it's true or false by seeing it inwards. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Then we all do the learn and practice in the same time.
Bante, I have a question.
Yes,
So,
Satish.
whenever we get that feelings and we understand it's rising and falling, is there any certain meditations that we can do on that moment?
This is the meditation. Idha bhikkhave bhikkhu, the monks, sukhangva vedana vedyamano sukhang vedana vedyamiti pachanati. When you experience pleasant feeling, they understand that I'm experiencing pleasant feeling. And dukkhangva vedana vedyamano, unpleasant feeling experience, I experience unpleasant feeling. Or the neutral feeling experience, I am experiencing neutral feeling. Likewise, understanding this is the feeling, I'm experiencing this sort of a feeling, and it's a meditation. In the second part, we can discuss in next class, samisangva sukhang vedana vedyamano samisang sukhang vedana vedyamiti pajanati. That means when someone experiences a sensual pleasure, happy feeling or pleasant feeling, they understand that I'm experiencing sensual pleasure based pleasant feeling. And niramisang, that means think that you practice meditation and you feel inner peace and inner happiness. It's like it's the opposite of the sensual pleasure, but it still feel that the bliss in you. So then you understand I'm experiencing niramisam. That means not a sensual pleasure, but that inner peace and happiness. So then you understand this feeling. Instead of recognizing you through that feeling, just understanding that feeling. Even there are sensual pleasure, the sensual pleasure based unpleasant experiences. Someone expecting something and they don't receive it, then it creates sensual pleasure based unpleasant. Without sensual pleasure based, that means a niramisa, unpleasant feelings also arising. As an example, think that someone want to attain a samadhi, concentration, but they can't attain that. Someone want to attain the enlightenment. Think that someone want to attain the first stage of enlightenment. They try, but they can't attain that. It also create unpleasant experience. Then they understand that I have that unpleasant experience. Since there are sensual pleasure based neutral feelings and without sensual pleasure based neutral feelings also there. If someone attained to fourth jhana, then it's a full equanimity. They have that feeling. So when whatever the feeling arises in you, when you understand that feeling as a feeling, understanding as a feeling means with the knowledge of this arises because of the contact, this falls when contact is no longer there. Every feeling has the gratification and drawback and escape with that knowledge. So when you have that, that's a meditation. You do not need to sit, you do not need to do anything. So whatever, it's like wherever you are, whatever you do, you can do this meditation.
Well, thank you, Bante. I have another question. Like you mentioned about like the first arrow and the second arrow. The first arrow is for example, like it's a pain, physical pain. The second arrow is your mental pain. That is one.
Yeah, true.
Okay, thank you.
Can you please do jhanas type talk or any meditation related? Yeah, so the jhanas, in brief, the jhana is jhana is the path to cessation of suffering. That fold is in the Noble Eightfold Path. So when someone concentrate their mind, when some that based on the sila or based on the ethical conduct, last Sunday also we had a very good discussion on that. Why do we need that ethical conduct? Because we are not manipulating mind, or we do not try to create something in our mind. We let our mind to be happy by itself, because that mind does not experience any defilement. So for that, when we keep a free mind, we should have a regret free, no regret mind. So that's why we need to have an ethical conduct. Based on ethical conduct, someone as an example, someone see the body as body, feeling as feelings, mind as mind, and mind phenomena as mind phenomena. What will happen? Their mind settles, and instead of wandering in the sensual pleasure world, that creating stories world, instead of that, in that story world, overcoming from that and just being mindful in themselves. When they being mindful in themselves, there are 5 aggregates here. So that means rupa, or the form, feeling, perception, and volition, and the consciousness. So those are the 5 things here, and those are the 5 things we attach and create sufferings actually. So the jhana is a place where you can see these 5 and see the gratification, drawback, and escape, and free your mind and be an enlightened monk or enlightened person actually. So the jhanas has like there are 4 jhanas with form. That means when they concentrate, they experience the form. And there are another jhanas, when they concentrate, they do not experience their form. That means they do not experience their body, because it's so focused to their mind. So the first 4 jhanas is the first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, fourth jhana. The first jhana means vivicheva kamehi. That means escape from that sensual pleasure story world. Vivicha kusale dhammehi, plus all the, escape from all the defilements. Savitakkan savicharan, that means that the mind narrations and the continuity of the mind narrations still there, but it's not that with the defilements. And savitakkan savicharan vivekaja, that due to the viveka means that that if someone being in that sensual pleasure story world, their mind is so busy, they do not experience the freedom, the calm and peace in themselves. When that fade away, the stories fade away, the 5 hindrances are not disturbing to them. They have a huge peace and happiness and time less duty in their mind. No duties to like the fulfill the expectation. Because of that freedom, that freedom creates the blissful or the piety and the happiness. That means it has 5 things: the mind narration, that continuity of the mind narrations. I'm not sure that what is the exact word for vitaka. I will go through it and I will bring it. And the piti. Piti means that blissfulness. Sukha means the happiness. And ekagata. Ekagata is the most important thing. Ekagata means concentration. The second jhana means the second in there, that mind narration and the continuity of the mind narration is no longer there. And because of that, they have they experience the piti and sukha, the bliss and the happiness, not just because of that freedom which comes from not sensual pleasures, but because of the concentration. Why? The mind narrations are always kind of disturbance to the concentration. Now that narrations are switched off, they have the full concentration. Because of that, they have happiness and the blissfulness. Thank you for the vitaka. Thoughts and sustained thoughts. When it does not there, thoughts and sustained thoughts, that it creates concentration. With that, they have the blissfulness and the happiness plus that ekagata, the concentration. Third jhana, they do not have thoughts, sustained thoughts, plus the bliss. That instead of that, they have the happiness and the concentration only two. And just experience the happiness and the concentration. At that, for that jhana, that blissfulness also kind of a disturbance, because it's kind of a wandering thing. Actually, all these are wandering compared to the concentration. Then fourth jhana, it does not have the happiness even. It's totally the concentration with the form. Those are the 4 jhana. Formless jhana means without the form, there are perceptual concentrations. Those are the things in there. And so, in brief, those are the things. Before we start the next class, as a homework, when you feel feelings, try to, instead of creating that story, definitely mind will create the story. I'm 100% sure about that. But at least see what's the feeling. Instead of identifying you and creating story, just see the rising and falling. At least think like this. This feeling was not with me a moment ago. And this feeling won't last for long, and there will be another feeling after some time. So because when this feeling is in my mind, it creates different thoughts, like some sort of thought pattern. I should not dive into that. I should not trap into that. I should wait until this feeling fade away. Remember, feeling is fade away means you shouldn't try to pull that feeling off. That's the wrong way of doing. That means you are thinking of gratification. Think that when you feel pain, if you try to remove it, that is the reason the feeling is always coming. Can you remember the example I said that if I ask you to forget an apple, suddenly apple will come to your mind. If you try to forget something, that is the reason that feeling just arising. Because this feeling does not have energy to just arise for no reason. We have that our ignorance should create a reason. So instead of rejecting anything, see it's arise and it will fall. Try to do not give any room to give a chance it to like your mind to keep on think on that. Yeah, Linda.
Bante, can I ask one very quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Starting from contemplation of feeling, is that considered as vipassana already? Because
Yes, that's a
from
vipassana.
feeling, mind,
Yeah.
and okay.
Yeah, actually, we are not stopping. What we are doing is we see the rising and falling. It eventually falls, right? It eventually ends, and there is, because we don't have a key to. Uh, hey, my body should be like this. I mean, not the what you are doing as a workout. I'm saying the in the mind. It's like there is no key to change. Hey, I have the key to change feelings. Likewise, there is no, but we have a knowledge of the key that has the knowledge is a key actually. Which means that we know the nature of the feelings. Those are rising due to the reason. Those will fall due to the reason. So if anyone worrying about when anger rises, I can't control, or I can it keeps for some time. You know what? You shouldn't worry about that. Why? Can you bring anger in this moment? Okay, I'll give you 3 seconds. Be angry. Let me check your faces. No, and you're smiling. So if you do not have ability to be angry for no reason, then why are you expecting when anger rises to just fade away? It takes time because there you don't have authority. So then you should worry about you can't be angry when you want. So likewise. Right. So it's time to wind up the program. Say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Today we learned about the feelings, and we learned a nice part of actually sutta from Salla Sutta, about the sutta about the arrow. We accumulated many merits, good karma to our life. Let's share all this good karma with all the divinely powers. If there are any private guardians to you, may they rejoice these merits. And let's share these merits with all of our past relatives and friends. And let's share these merits with our teacher, Pinath Lokuswamin Nansi, and all the monastic monks. And let's share this good karma with all of you, the volunteers and all the meditators who learn and practice these teachings. May you all be well, may you all be happy, may all good wishes come true, and may you all able to understand the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.